Kenny North capped a banner fall tennis season with their first trip to the regional championship in school history and a final ranking of number 5 in the state. As Coach Jon Stein is with us now. And John, how do you sum up what this team tennis season meant to your program?
You know, I think it's, Ted, it's something that we've been working for. We've had a long history. I mean, we won 7 district titles when we first opened and have been to the regional semi a couple times and always finished in the state's top 20, but this was a banner year, and the good news is a lot of them are freshmen, but it was something that I played in a couple as a player growing up, and it was something that I wanted our kids to experience, to get to that final match, I guess, in the region, and a chance to go to the state tournament, which is something hopefully they'll remember forever.
22-4, the overall record in the fall, and 3 of those losses came to the now 4-time defending state champion in Highland Park. You ran into them early in the season, then in the district title, and in the regional final as well. Take us first back to Grapevine and Colleyville, the regional final. That takes through that day. I'm sure that some nerves had to be calmed. You knew your opponent well. You had seen him 2 times previously. But what was that like running into HP once again?
It's one of those things, like we had set our goal or for the season, like, hey, we want to be there. We're good enough to be there. The region overall was a little bit down, and I was pleasantly surprised by our freshmen. And so we kind of set that goal early on, and as we came through, we beat Texas High, a perennial power in 4A Region 2. We beat Frisco. We beat a couple of those Frisco schools that are always vying for that chance to be in the regional final. And so, it was one of those things. Like I said, we set our goal. We were ready to play them. But then, we knew going into that regional semi that morning that we were going to have a battle with Texas High, while Highland Park was going to take care of Frisco, rather quickly. And so, I think they were done in about 2.5 hours, and we were out there for about 6 before we got to play them. So, I felt like things looked bad for us against Texas High. We were down 8-2, and then 8-5, and then 9-7. But the kids just kept battling, and it's a tribute to how hard they worked and how much they believed in the goal. And we ended up pulling that match out 10-9, and we got about 1 hour and 15 for lunch, and then we took the court against HP, and they're, what do you say about them? They're solid. I don't think, to my recollection, no one's won the region since we've had team tennis besides them in 4A. So to get there is sort of like, in a way, playing for a state championship. I know coaches don't want to talk about moral victories all the time, but it's something that in this region is a big deal. And you guarantee yourself basically a top 5 state ranking if you can be there.
Yeah, the Scots have won 13 team tennis state championships, more than anybody in Texas history. They are one of the best programs in the nation, and the fact that you are competing with them at some of the highest levels in your own district, and then ultimately for a chance to go to the state tournament, has to speak volumes for your program.
It does. I feel like we closed the gap on them as the year went on. I think it's one of those things, you talk about the South Lake Carrolls in football and some of these programs. A lot of times just the name on the uniform, buys you wins. Kids are intimidated by them, athletes. And I felt like as we progressed throughout the season, getting to play them 3 times, which it's like any coach, it's a great opportunity to see the best and to play the best. And I've enjoyed it. And Dan Holden down there does a remarkable job in organizing that talent and keeping that talent focused on what their goal is. But I was really proud of our kids. The first time I felt like they were pretty nervous. The second time I felt like they really came out and played. And the third time, despite being exhausted, and I felt like we battled them probably the hardest we had all year.
Not only did you finish as a top 5 team, John, you were a top 5 team really all year long throughout this season, and you knew you had some mainstays coming back. Senior Anna Schreier on the girls' side, on the boys' side, that doubles tandem of Jordan Hart and Matt Matei. You knew you'd be good. Did you think you would be this good this year?
It was in the back of my mind, and it's one of those things when you bring in we had 4 freshman girls that came in, and a few of the open transfer policy students. So you're trying to kind of get a cohesiveness going with them, and we definitely have some big personalities, and we struggled with that at first. Some of these kids are stars in the USTA world, but then they come here and they're just, they're not just, but they have to move down that ladder and play behind somebody else, and it's a tough situation, but we preach Josh Greenwood and I preach a very, team first mentality in the fall, and the spring's for the best players. They'll fight their way out of district and regions, but for the fall, it's all about the team. But senior leadership was great this year, galvanizing the younger kids and the new kids. I can't speak enough about the leadership of Vanna Schreier and Kira Smith on the girls' side. You got 2 senior girls and a handful of freshmen, and so it's a tribute to them as people and leaders that they're willing to accept these young girls, help and get them to the level we needed to be to compete for a regional championship.
Speaking of Anna, John, she was named Senior of the Year in district play back in the fall. 2 years ago, she won an individual district championship in the spring as a sophomore. Last year, she was injured, didn't get a chance to defend her title, and it seems like her senior year is shaping up to be a special one.
Yeah, I hope so for Anna. I mean, she's a great kid. Other coaches of the district recognize her work ethic, her just the type of person she is. Intelligent, good athlete. Just an all-around amazing kid. And she had a really good fall. I mean, she'd been playing number 1 for us for 2 years, and to have Camila Westbrooks come in, was just an all-star player. And Anna handled going to number 2 with such grace, and really provided us with a tremendous amount of wins in tight team matches that we needed. So I can't say enough about her leadership and who she is as a person. And I think she won Freshman of the Year back in District 9 4A, and to bookend that with Senior of the Year, I think is a tribute to her for sure.
And Anna's younger sister is on this team as well. Elise was an all-district selection in the fall. It has to be fun for both of them to be teammates together, as Anna is a senior and Elise is a freshman.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. Great family, great parents, great kids. They're different. Elise is a little bit more, she's more of a jokester, more of a prankster than Anna. Anna's a very, straight-laced type individual. But it's been fun to watch them interact and get to spend. We spend hours together, bus rides and matches and practices. And I've had lots of brothers and sisters that go through the program together, but they would definitely be towards the top of that group for sure.
We mentioned Elise Schreier as a freshman, Westbrooks as a freshman. How about Brooke Lowes, who was named Freshman of the Year in District 10 4A? What has you most excited about her future?
I think Brooke is, her potential is unlimited. She's a solid athlete and definitely finds ways to win. She's a definite warrior. Puts the team first. Another great kid. I can't say enough about my varsity kids. They're all very good kids. But what I saw with her is just the confidence grow. And by the end of the season, she was playing tight matches with the girls from Highland Park, the girls from Boyd, the girls from Texas High, and coming out on the winning end of a lot of those. Big strokes, and I think when the mental game of maturity gets there, Brooke could be a very dominant player in this district for sure.
You had 6 girls and 6 boys named to the all-district squad, just about your whole team. That obviously shows how well-rounded a group that you have. The boys' side has been led the last few years by your doubles team of Jordan Hart and Matt Matei, doubles team of the year in district play here in the fall. How have they improved since a year ago?
I think Jordan especially has improved a lot. Matt is just a natural athlete. He's going to make things happen. He's got some of the fastest hands, probably the best hands of anybody I've ever coached here at McKinney North. Jordan is just solid and steady and a machine as far as that. And so they're kind of an odd couple as far as one's a little bit, Matt's more emotional, Jordan's more robotic, but together I think they trust each other. I think they believe in each other, and I think their styles of play complement each other. In the regional final, they absolutely dominated Highland Park's boys doubles team, and I feel like Luke Steinbach and those guys down there, and John Mee, they're potential state champion in 4A doubles. So, I really like where those two are headed and have played for us, and it's nice to have when you walk out there and you've got 8 matches on the court at a time where you know you've got a boys doubles team that's probably a lock against just about anybody.
Yeah, Jordan and Matt were state quarterfinalists last spring. What do they have in store this spring, you think?
You know, if they play together, I think the sky's the limit. You know, just like last year, we kind of threw them together late. Saw that there was probably going to be an opening for a doubles team to sneak out. Matt was a little bit unknown, and so we were able to kind of sneak under the radar and bout to the regional semi with those 2 guys. But you know, the choice is theirs. I feel like, you know, they were right there. I mean, they lost to the state champions in 3 sets. I felt like we got a, you know, I wouldn't say a bad draw because, you know, you got to beat whoever when you get down there. But they might have been or probably were the second best doubles team in 4A last year for sure.
Overall, John, how do you carry over the good vibes in the fall breakthrough season to the spring tennis season, which obviously is very different? You focus on the individual pairs and obviously the singles side as well.
Yeah, you try to let it snowball. You try to let the enthusiasm and the fact that our season went longer than it ever has, our highest state ranking of all time. You try to let the kids grow, you know, confident, get confidence from that. But you got to kind of keep them humble at the same time because they do kind of start walking around with a little bit bigger heads, and you're kind of like, okay, guys, back to work, back to work. You know, that was 2 months ago, 3 months ago. But now we're on everybody's radar. We're in everybody's crosshairs, and so you're not going to surprise anybody, little freshmen anymore. You're going to have to be ready to play whoever we face or whatever tournament we're in the spring.
No victory lap like the Mavericks, no gold tennis shoes like Jason Terry, no
yeah.
bathrobes, anything like that?
I wish. I mean, I'll tell you, it made my school year. It was something that, you know, I'd been frustrated as a coach, feeling like we had a lot of bad luck in some of the other regional semis, some other things, some injuries, some things that went wrong. And so I felt like, for me, it was something I'd waited 11 years for, and so I was incredibly happy and proud. And I, you know, it sounds trivial, but I think when you're so driven to win all the time, it was almost like a relief thing where, you know, you're like, okay, we finally met or exceeded expectations, and that's the way I want these kids to be, and I do think they exceeded expectations. I don't think a lot of people had us penciled into that regional final, and we got there, and that's, like I said, that's a tribute to them, and I want them to feed off that and grow from that, and you know, realize that it may never happen again, or it may happen 3 more times. I don't know, but it's something that I want them to carry with them for the rest of their lives for sure, because it's an incredible accomplishment in Region 2 4A to get there.
John, in addition to relief, we hope that you enjoyed it. You enjoyed that run as well, and congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
Jon Stein, head coach of McKinney North. The fall should be a launching pad for Bulldogs tennis, and they don't have to wait long to get back on the court for this spring season. First event later this month, January 19th against Allen.